What's up, guys? Welcome to your 167th Android tutorial for the new Boston, where hopefully we're going to finish our widget application. Don't want to go too much more into it, but just quickly, again, we want this activity to finish, and what we're going to do is if it can't load which widget is basically opening this class, all we're going to do to this if statement, because I forgot, we're just going to say else and then finish as well. So just a quick piece of code there, and that's kind of proof checking as well. So, you know, if we can't get the ID, we're just going to finish the application. Pretty simple. And in this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to open an activity just based off of a button for the widget. So it's going to be a little bit different than we would if we were just creating a regular activity where we set up an intent and we just say start activity. We need to identify it with the button and all that stuff within our code. So before we call this update method for our app widget manager, we're actually going to add some lines of code here. So this is where we're going to set up our intent that we want to open, and we also got to set up a pending intent. Pending intent, because that's what remote views, that's what widgets like to use, all that good stuff. So again, we're going to set up an intent, and we're just going to say this intent is IN, and we're just going to set this equal to new intent. And we're going to refer to our context, which again we referenced as C, and then the activity that we want to open, or the class that we want to open. So we're going to open the splash activity, or the splash class, so again we call that class splash, and then we just say we have to refer to it as a class. So that's kind of similar concept that we've done previously. Yeah, nothing new. And it might have been a while though. But now we're going to set up something called a pending intent, and we're just going to call this PI for pending intent. We're going to set this equal to the pending intent class, and we're just going to say .get activity, and it takes four things within its parameters: a context, which we're going to say C, a request code, which we're just going to say 0, and intent, which we're going to refer to the intent we just set up, which we called IN, and the flags as 0 as well. So that's new. This is something, you know, that we use with widgets, pending intents. And now all we have to do is we have to set our on-click, our on-click listener, basically to the button that we have in our widget. So it's going to be kind of similar. Again, we set up this remote views, and this is how we set our text view. Now all we're going to do is set our on-click listener for our button. So what we're going to do is we're going to refer to our views, which is a remote view, and then we're just going to say set on-click pending intent. And you're like, oh, pending, yeah. What's up with all these pending intents? Well, that's just the way that the widgets like to work. I don't know, they're kind of weird, but we're just going to go with it. And then all we have to do is refer to our button within our widget layout. So we're just going to say r.id.button widget open is what we called that reference. And we need to pass in the pending intent, which we set up here called PI. And there we go. And again, our app widget manager is going to update everything according to the ID and this remote views that we set up. And again, all we're doing is setting up an intent of the class that we want to open, and we're setting up a pending intent, which is going to kind of just refer everything to the context and to the intent that we want to open. And then we just have to set our on-click listener. You can think of it that way, but it's called on-click pending intent to that button, widget button, and the application that's going to open. So, and all we need to do is we need to set a result. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a new intent, and we're going to call this result, something like that. We're going to set this equal to new intent as well. Make sure the spelling's correct there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say result, and all we got to do is we got to put extras in, just like when we were working with the bundles a while ago, or put extra I should say. When we were working with those bundles, we're just returning some data back to the app or the widget that called this class. So what we want to return is the app widget manager and dot extra, and that's just going to be basically the key value, or the key reference, and it's going to just refer to the app widget ID for this, this activity. Then we're going to return the value as the ID that was being passed into the class and all that good stuff. So we're just going to say AWID, which is our variable that we set up for this activity, and then all we're going to do is we're going to say set result. Oops. Set result. And we're just going to say, yeah, everything's okay. If you guys remember again when we worked with bundles, we got to tell it, yeah, everything's fine, and then we're also going to say result. That's the intent that's being passed back. So that's basically how this works. Again, we set up an intent and we're passing or updating our widget app, and then we're updating the specific ID that called this activity to start, and we're also setting a result to be passed back to the app, to the widget. I keep saying app, so sorry for that. And everything is good to go. So let's run our application and make sure it works. Also talk about some of the things that you guys can do to fix, or try to fix, which is the fun part of programming, always solving problems and that stuff, or seeing if you can figure out how to do the solution. So here's our activity. We're just going to go back. Just going to click on the screen and add a widget. Again, it's going to be of the type New Boston. And as you can see, it opens our configuration activity. We're just going to type something, hit the button. It's going to set the result and send it back to our first text view, and our button will open up, hopefully, the New Boston. As you can see, the splash screen, which I narrowed down to like half a second because I was sick of listening to it. But yeah, so that works. And then the problem is it's not calling that onUpdate method, because when you use the configuration type of widget, it won't call the onUpdate the first time you create the widget. So you can either try and solve that problem by doing that within this configuration class, setting that up as well and all that good stuff. But hopefully you guys understand a little bit more about widgets, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.